Hi, I'm Natalie from Kai Carter Estates, and I'm here today with Claire Tull from Studio 12 in Theale. And today we're talking about the interior design trends that we're likely to see in 2021. Interior design is about a lot more than just cushions and colours. It looks to the roots of the home, how we use space, who will be living there, the furniture we have, and critical installations such as lighting. So Claire's going to talk to us today as an interior design expert about the trends that she's seeing coming up for next year that have been influenced by the events of 2020. Hi, Claire.
Hi, Natalie.
Hi. So interesting year we've had, and I know it's kept you on your toes. So what sort of trends are you seeing emerge that will influence us for next year?
Well, I think the big thing is the continuation of the influence of arts and crafts, the movement back with William Morris. That I think will be very prevalent next year in the patterns that we see in wallpaper and fabrics, but also in terms of quality. I hope we'll see better quality build of furniture. We've got a good tradition of it in this country, and I think people are looking more at long-term and sustainability as opposed to fast furniture and flat pack. It needs to be more meaningful. So I think a nice thing will be a trend back to quality and meaning rather than just function. In terms of colours, the new colours have been announced by Farrow and Ball and Little Green. And where we've had lots of greys, we're now going deeper colours, really earthy, sludgy greys. Brown is coming back. I don't know how that's going to be used, but darker colours mixed with lighter colours. And interestingly, a lot of blues and aquas. And this is what they're calling distant shores. So we might not be able to go on holiday, but we can bring some of those blue skies and beautiful sea colours into our homes, combining natural materials, but we want that comfort. So after this year, we're looking at being comfortable, secure, but we still want practicality, and creating our nests or our castles, or both. I think the pandemic is certainly making us look at how we live, how we use our spaces, and if we have to make it multi-use, how do we do that without sacrificing one thing over another? Over the top of that, there is the trend for improved lighting and improved technology. Those are all coming into our homes because we're spending so much time at home studying, educating our children, working from home. Our homes are our whole environment at the moment. They have to work really, really hard. And the lighting that you need in a bedroom is different to the lighting that you might need if you're using the bedroom as a study during the day. So it's how do you achieve that? And particularly in terms of shading, if you've got a south-facing window, whether it's your living room, your kitchen, or your bedroom, and you're working, that's your office during the day, then you're going to need some shading because you don't want the glare on your screen. So lighting and health and safety, electrical requirements, smart home, all of those things are going to be the new trends, and how we incorporate that into our homes this coming year and going forward.
I mean, with that in mind, what's the process for design for somebody who's maybe either repurposing a room or extending or building from scratch? What process do you go through to consult with them and advise them?
Well, it all stems by getting a really good design brief. So it is a lot of questions. What is it? What do you have now or don't have now that you want will make your life easier, better? And I would say 9 times out of 10, there are problems, and through design we solve those problems, whatever they might be. So we look at the space. What do you want to do with it? What's the long-term prospects? Because it might be, if you're not going to be there in, say, 2 years' time, is it worth doing this work? Can we do it another way without being expensive? Or if it's a long-term proposition, we might think about it differently. So there's a lot of things that need to be considered with any project. With the garage project I did, I think we've got some photos to go with that. The client gave me, I think it was a 20-point wish list. So all of the things that she wanted to incorporate in this room, I had the wish list. I then worked out the space, what I would need, and the facilities I would need to accommodate each wish. And then from that, we did a basic design. I think we came up with 2 or 3 options, and then we worked on and developed the one that would work for her best.
Mm-hmm.
And then we went through the process of finding a builder, finalising the finishes and all that kind of thing. So it's really, the beginning is the fact finding. What do you want to do? When do you want it done? How soon do you want it done? And importantly, how much do you think it's going to cost? Because sometimes you can't have all 3. Time, cost and quality do not mix well together.
Smart home technology is becoming more popular. One of the key elements or benefits of it, of course, being optimized broadband. And I know this is something that you work with, because your studio has smart lighting.
It does.
Yeah. So how are you going about incorporating smart home functionality into your designs?
So at the beginning of the project, it depends. If it's a new build, it's easy because you can bring Cat 6 or Cat 5 into the home straight away and you wire accordingly. So that all becomes part of your electrical and lighting plan. It's a lot easier. With retrospective installations, it's doable, but it's always back to the brief. What is it you want? What's the degree of functionality? So going back to my lady in a wheelchair, we want good functionality so that she can operate her blinds and her lighting and her security from her iPad. Mm-hmm. So we need a fairly good integrated system for her. With other systems, you might just want to do some lights. And that's not so difficult. You can do lights that have built-in sensors. You don't need a fully blown smart home system to do that. And in another property, it was Victorian house, the switching on 3 floors was, well, it was almost non-existent. So we used a wireless system. So we could switch between the 3 floors in the stairwell landing and on the landing. So there are different products to suit different functions that you want to do. So you don't have to have everything. But if you want a central brains behind it, like Rayco or Lockzone, then you need the Cat 6. Mm-hmm. Then you need to make it a fully blown system. So the way to a smart home, I know that's come up back to front. This is my rec cell, and it's brilliant. It's got different chapters on electrical vehicle, charging, Google Nest, thermostats, all sorts of things. Mm-hmm. So I would say get some information and really think about what you want to do, because you can add on, and it does become expensive. But you get the functionality.
Clients of mine that I know are about to go through upgrading their home or looking to buy a home that they will then upgrade or renovate. I am as standard mentioning to them they might want to think about smart home functionality, because it's becoming so incredibly popular with people of all generations. And if that's the case now, when you come to sell that home you're renovating in 5, 10, 20 years, it's likely to be much more of a requirement than it is now. So it is worth thinking ahead. So once you've built or designed a space and finished the space itself, that's the time for cushions and colours that I know you would have thought about in advance. And I've been to your studio that we mentioned earlier, which is absolutely gorgeous. 2 floors of things that you can touch and feel and really see the true colours of. And I'm loving the 2-sided curtains and some of the finishes you have on the fabrics you have. So for anyone who's visually and in terms of touch and feel, it's a great place to go. But you also organised trips up to Chelsea Harbour to look at designs there. So what's the process then? Because this sometimes can be the last fun bit, the cherry on the cake of picking how you're going to accent a room. What process do you go through in terms of Chelsea Harbour?
Well, I think the earlier we get together to look at furnishings and fittings, the better. And certainly if there's a big project, if you're looking at a whole house, or even, you know, a substantial project like a whole living room, and you're starting from scratch, and the client might not really have an idea of their style, or they don't think they have an idea of their style. So we go to the design centre, and it's a really fun day. We go into the different showrooms, and then we get to know each other, and I get to see that immediate reaction. Oh, that's fantastic, or oh no, don't show me any more of that, it's horrid. So we do lots of editing in a fun way, but it's a very productive way. So then when we get back, we've got samples, we've got brochures, we've got images, and then we can start editing them and allocating them to the different rooms or to the different processes. Importantly, if you're doing a renovation, your builder will want to know what colours you're going to be using, because at some point the painter is going to come and you're going to have to tell them. Before that, the electrician's going to come and they'll want to know where you want your electric points. So we need to have done the room layout. So the sooner we can get this done and ready for the trades to be able to come in and have a smooth process, the better. And at the moment, with the pandemic regulations, we need to book time, and the showrooms are by appointment. So we have to be very targeted where we go. With over, I think it's over 200 showrooms now, we need to know who we need to go and see, because just going to showrooms randomly to see what they happen is very unsatisfying, and it's not very productive. And now with targeted appointments and timed appointments, we need to know that we want to go to Lewis and Wood to see their lovely wallpapers, or we might want to go and see Colfax and Fowler, or we might want to go to a lighting showroom or an upholstery showroom. We work out a programme, but it's fun. And then the client gets to really engage right from the start on their design journey. And they get involved in the design and they enjoy the process. I hope they do. They say they do. And then they've invested time and energy from the start. So when it starts, we come to installation, they're really excited and they can see it taking place. Whereas design is quite an intangible process, but we make it tangible by doing it in this way. I hope that makes sense.
No, it does, absolutely. I think for anybody who's concerned about going out or who's shielding, do you offer a remote version of this?
Yes, so we can have Zoom meetings. I try and have as many samples. I mean, it's limited the amount of samples you can have. Small fabric samples can be sent direct to the client's house. And at some point, we will need to have a face-to-face meeting, because seeing a space, you get an idea of the natural lighting and how, you know, there's a lot that you can't get from a remote meeting. But initially, there's a lot you can do via Zoom. And Chelsea Harbour, they do have different and regular remote webinars and things like that. So there are lots of ways we can engage in the design process remotely.
Looking at the sort of projects that you're working on at the moment that maybe are reflecting some of those trends, what sorts of projects are you working on?
My major project at the moment is working with a couple adapting their home for a wheelchair user. So we're introducing wet rooms and making sure that there's space for her to have an assisted care, you know, a carer with her while she's having her shower, and also making adaptations for the kitchen so she can still cook and be very active within the home, albeit she has these other considerations. Another one, it's a fairly simple living room remodeling and furnishing, but one of the couple has colour blindness. So that's been interesting, researching what he actually sees in terms of colour. And introducing some colour into his life, because at the moment it's grey and sludge, mostly.
Yeah.
If he's not seeing all the other colours. So that's been a good one to work with.
Your studio is open for scheduled appointments?
Yes.
So the details will be coming up shortly for anybody who would like to talk to Claire. I've recently passed your details over to somebody who's designing a home, and she could definitely use your help. So I know I can really see, having met with you at the studio and talked to you, the value that you're bringing to projects, which is exactly what people need. So those details will be coming up, and thank you so much for your time today.
Well, thank you. And just to say, visits to the showroom are by appointment, but it's no obligation. So they're welcome to come and have a chat, and there's absolutely no obligation after that. But thank you, and thank you for the introduction.
Thanks so much, Claire.